a pox. On late 19th century inventor Wilhelm Beetz, widely credited for having invented a thing that absolutely positively should not exist, the urinal. You know, that porcelain basin mounted to the wall that watches you go with its beady little red eye.
I feel much better now. I really do.
And usually waits until you're walking away to flush oh so discreetly, as if to say, nothing going on here, nope, nothing at all. But something is going on here. I had to go, and I was herded into a shared space, lined up against the wall, and basically forced to stand there with my dick in my hand, next to 27 other men, all with their dicks in their hands, with only the cheapest and most alarmingly rusted scrap of metal barrier between us. All, or most of us anyway, pretending to be somewhere else. I pretend I'm at the bowling alley. It helps me concentrate, although I've received some disconcerted looks from my neighbors when I've occasionally yelled out, "Yes, strike!" Never mind all that. You know what? Some of us have a hard time performing in front of an audience. Even if that audience is not looking so hard at us. Me, I'm concentrating so hard at a dried up piece of snot on the wall, or better yet, pondering that one curly black hair that somehow ended up on the very top of the urinal. How did it get there? That I almost forgot to straddle the day-old blend of urine in a standing pool that lurks beneath each and every urinal the world over. But God forbid, don't stand so wide as to accidentally tap the foot of the guy doing the same thing next to you. The next thing you know, you'd be elected to Congress. Women, although confronted with different obstacles in public restrooms, get a small private room by themselves with a securely locked door between them and the rest of the world. 4 walls, mood lighting, a specially designed hygienic seat cover, some Yanny music piped in from a discreet speaker somewhere, and a fresh roll of toilet paper. Some me time, maybe, to return a few emails in a relaxed fashion. Maybe some aerosol fragrance that evokes a spa. Or as a colleague of mine once observed, if that fragrance that comes out of a can isn't quite enough, the scent would be called, "I shit a meadow." Women are generally not worried about the person next to them splashing something on their shoes. I don't know. Sounds like heaven to me. I know. It's all about so-called efficiency, blah, blah, blah. Efficiency, Let's try to squeeze the most possible use out of the least possible resources. It's the American way. And sure, it would be efficient if we all shat into a big pit in the middle of the road, too, wouldn't it? But that would be considered disgusting. And somehow, this isn't. Let's face it, we've all been hypnotized by Herr Beetz. The urinal should not exist. Let's start a movement. Haha, movement. Let's call it. The rest of the public bathroom experience goes something like this. And here I'm quoting directly from you, Uncle Pete, almost word for word. Automatic soap dispensers that were but don't dispense any soap. Automatic faucets that squirt 1 second of cold water and then exist no more. People that burst out of the stalls and run out without washing their hands. In full disclosure, I have to admit, some of you might want to close your ears. I have to admit that I myself don't always wash my hands after peeing. The obvious rationale being that of all the things that I touch throughout the day, this is the one I know where it's been the most. And it's likely to have thousands fewer varieties of bacteria on it than the door handle that got me in here in the first place. But I digress. Automatic towel dispensers that give you 3 square inches of precious paper, or better yet, the same dispenser that is supposed to dispense when it detects motion, but it doesn't, causing the hapless hand washer to stand there making all sorts of absurd gestures in order to try to get a paper towel. To sum up, people, room full of men shaking their dicks, making incomprehensible hand gestures that achieve nothing. It's kind of like the floor of the stock exchange, only much cleaner. I know I haven't done this in a while, I know that was short, and it wasn't particularly funny. But it's Dave Reviews Everything, and what you get is what you get. This week's episode is brought to you by North Korea, South Korea, and I once had a career, but no one wants to hire me anymore. I wonder why. Wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why. Next week, we will be reading from the New York Times for people with Tourette's.